All right, today we're going to dive into one of the most influential personal finance books ever written, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, this is more than just a book about money. It's really a guide to completely rewiring how you think about wealth and work. So let's get right into it. Just think about it for a second. What were the messages you heard? Was it save every single penny? Or, get a good, safe job? The thing is, most of us absorb these financial lessons without even realizing it. And the entire foundation of this book is built on the totally conflicting money lessons the author learned as a kid. So Robert Kiyosaki had two major father figures in his life. First, there was his biological father, who he calls his poor dad. This guy was highly educated, had a great job, and believed deeply in job security. Then there was his best friend's father, his rich dad. He was a self-made entrepreneur who believed financial education was everything. And their advice, well, it couldn't have been more different. And this slide, wow, it really gets to the heart of that conflict. The poor dad's advice is probably what most of us have heard our whole lives, right? Study hard, get that safe job, save your money. But the rich dad's philosophy is the complete opposite. He'd say, study hard so you can buy assets, learn to make your money work for you, and get this, your home is actually a liability. This brings us to what is, without a doubt, the core lesson of the entire book. I mean, if you can really grasp this next idea, you've got the foundation of financial intelligence. It's the key difference between working for money your whole life and having your money work for you. I mean, we all think we do, don't we? It's a house, a car, maybe some stocks. But Kiyosaki argues that those traditional definitions are actually pretty misleading, and they're what keep people trapped. The real definition? It's so much simpler. That's it? Seriously, it's so simple, but it's incredibly profound. According to Rich Dad, an asset isn't defined by what it is, but by what it does. It's not about the label, It's all about the direction of the cash flow. If it's putting money into your pocket, it's an asset. Period. And this just illustrates the point perfectly. Think of assets as little employees working for you 24/7. Things like rental properties bringing in monthly checks, stocks that pay you dividends, or a business that generates profit. All of these things are actively putting money into your bank account. And of course, here's the flip side. A liability is anything that just drains your cash. You can think of it like a hole in your pocket. It's any financial obligation that requires you to spend money, consistently taking it out. Okay, and this is where the big aha moment happens for a lot of people. That house you live in? Well, the mortgage takes money out every single month. Your car, the payment, the insurance, the maintenance, they all take money out. So, according to this simple cash flow definition, they are liabilities, not assets. So here's the crucial takeaway from all that. The rich focus their energy and their money on buying things that generate more money. They are constantly building their asset column. Meanwhile, almost everyone else spends their lives acquiring debt and expenses, bigger houses, fancier cars, mistaking them for signs of wealth when they're actually just liabilities. And that leads us right into the next key lesson. You have to mind your own business. Now, Rich Dad wasn't saying you shouldn't have a job, not at all, but he was super clear that your job is not your business. Your real business is that asset column we were just talking about. This quote just cuts right through all the noise. Most people are completely focused on their income statement, right? They're trying to get a raise, a bigger paycheck. But the wealthy, they're focused on building their asset column, a portfolio of things that will pay them whether or not they even show up to a job. This visual just spells it out perfectly. Look at that first chart. That's the typical path. Almost all of your financial energy is poured into your job. But now look at the second chart. That's the wealthy mindset. A huge chunk of focus, time, and money is dedicated to acquiring and managing assets. It's a massive shift in your priorities. Okay, so let's say you've started to build that asset column. The next step is to understand how to protect it and let it grow as efficiently as possible. And that means learning the rules of the system, especially when it comes to taxes. This right here is an absolute game changer. As an employee, you earn your money. The government immediately takes its cut, and then you have to live on whatever's left over. But a business earns money, then it spends money on all its expenses, equipment, travel, salaries, and then it gets taxed on whatever profit is left over. The order of operations here matters a lot. And look, it is so important to understand this is not about cheating the system or tax evasion. It's about financial literacy. It's about understanding that the tax laws are literally written to give incentives to business owners and investors. The wealthy simply learn those rules and play the game the way it was designed to be played. This final lesson really ties everything we've been talking about together. See, if the goal is to build an asset column and run it like a business, then the whole purpose of your job, especially when you're young, completely changes. It's no longer just about the paycheck. So instead of just trying to climb that corporate ladder for a bigger salary, Kiyosaki argues you should be actively looking for jobs that teach you these high-value skills. We're talking about things like sales and marketing, money management, investing, and understanding the basics of law and taxes. These are the tools you need to build your own assets down the road. Your job becomes your education. The salary, well, that's just a bonus. The real payment is the expertise you're gaining. That knowledge is the ultimate asset because, think about it, no one can ever take it away from you, and you can use it to build wealth for the rest of your life. So after all this talk about assets and cash flow and taxes, what's the real endgame here? I mean, if you think the goal is just to end up on a giant pile of cash, you've missed the most important message of the entire book. The true goal of all this, of the financial education, of building assets, of minding your own business, it's freedom. It's the freedom to choose how you spend your time every single day of your life. Financial freedom is that moment when the income from your assets is greater than your living expenses. When you hit that point, you no longer have to work for money. You can still work, sure, but you can work because you want to, on things you're actually passionate about. Wealth isn't about being rich, it's about being free. And that's really the ultimate question that Rich Dad Poor Dad leaves us with. Is your life built around your paycheck, just trapped in a cycle of working to pay the bills? Or are you using that paycheck as a tool, as a seed, to build a life where you are in complete control? The choice really does start with your mindset.